Hi everyone, it's Henrietta and Heather, and welcome to a Millennial podcast where we dive deep into the life of our 30s.
We'll discuss our struggles, dreams, relationships, icks, and anything millennials can relate to. Sit back, relax, and let's head on this journey together. We are 30s Unfiltered.
In today's episode, we will be peeling back the layers of our past selves, reminiscing on the downright chaos that defined our 20s. Join us as we take a stroll down memory lane and reflect on the moments that shaped us into the individuals we are today. It's death to our 20s. R.I.P. Goodbye. See ya. Don't want to be ya.
Sayonara.
And finally 30. So let's jump into some questions.
So, Henrietta, did you have any crazy roommate stories or memorable living situations during your 20s?
So, yes, I had plenty. I have had about 12 roommates, and that's split between New York, LA, Oslo. For the most part, it went well, but there were a few that were not the best. And this one girl that I lived with, I mean, we were just not compatible and we did most things differently. And her red hair was a constant issue for me because it clogged um her sink and her drain, and there was red hair dye everywhere. And we didn't live together for long. And after that, I had two other girls that moved in, and they were just not the cleanest, let's just say that.
Hmm.
And then I moved in with two guys that also were not the cleanest. The one guy, he once shaved his pubic hair in the toilet and didn't
Gross.
flush.
Oh my God.
That was nasty. The other one would leave his boss's dog and his girlfriend's dog alone in the apartment for hours at a time, and they would forget to lock the front door. And there were homeless people all over that neighborhood. Yeah, it was just, yeah,
That
it
sounds
was
like a
not good.
lot. That sounds like a jump.
It
You went
was a
from
lot.
like one woman to two women, and then you went to two men. Like that's extreme.
Yeah, yeah. At one point, I lived with four, yeah, four girls in
Oh
Oslo.
wow.
It was a
How
big
was
apartment,
that?
but it was actually it wasn't that bad because we all knew each other
Hmm.
and we all just stayed out of each other's way. So that was honestly it was easier than some of the ones in LA, I'm not gonna lie. But I have also lived by myself twice, and it does get lonely sometimes. Like it's nice to have a roommate, but
Yeah.
only when it's compatible.
Right. Yeah. I live by myself right now, and I don't know if how I would do with a roommate, honestly. So kudos to you, girl.
So in your 20s, that's fine, but when you're 30 and you're an adult, it's time to move on.
Pay your
Yeah.
own rent.
Exactly. All right, so Heather, what is something you wish you knew in your 20s?
Something I wish I knew. I would say to believe in myself.
Yeah.
Really, I just lacked so much confidence and didn't have any direction because I was listening to everybody else and what they wanted for me in my life. And so that's something I just wish I knew, like to believe in myself because I didn't. And I just followed the path that everybody else told me to take. And I mean, not that I have a bad life. I just wish it's not the life that I actually have created for myself. So, yeah, that's something that I wish I knew.
You wish you had more confidence to do things that you maybe wish that you had?
Yeah, and just yeah, I wish I knew like everything's gonna be okay and I got it. I got this.
Yeah. It's kind of sad that that oftentimes comes with age. And some people just are born with, maybe it's just ingrained into their heads by their parents when they're very young. But I mean, I have supportive parents, but I also just didn't have all the confidence. I mean, in certain aspects, because I did follow my dreams since I was like 19. But yeah, no, I get that.
Okay, so Henrietta, did you have
Mhm.
any aha moments or epiphanies during that decade that changed the course of your life?
I'm sure there were many, but the one that I can think of was, I mean, at the later part of my 20s, I think I was 29 already when I started therapy because I had heard of therapy, through my friends for a long time, but never something that I had done. And I always believed in it. I just didn't think it would be revolutionary. Let's just say that. And when I did, I was like, oh, I get it now. And so, yeah, just the whole concept of therapy and the little tools that you get along the way, how big of an impact they have, and they will continue to have for the rest of your life. And so, yeah, that was an unexpected aha experience for me.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's when like your awareness finally kicks in and you're like so conscious to the decisions that you've made in your life or where you're actually at. And yeah, kind of embracing it and just going through the motions of yeah, where you're at in your journey in life.
Yeah, yeah,
So
totally.
that's amazing.
I wish I had known, or I wish I had gone earlier, because I know that there were certain things that I would have done differently, but better late than never. That was a for
Some
sure.
people never go to therapy. I can't even imagine.
Same. Now that I've gone through it, no, same. I could never. I've tried to force my parents to go because God knows they need it. Everyone does. But I know that
Some,
there are probably people in my life that will never even consider it, even though it's not like you have, I mean, it's a stigma
right,
in Norway to go. Now, luckily, it's getting better, but for, my whole life, it's always been a stigma if you go to therapy or see a psychiatrist. And luckily, it's getting better, slowly but surely.
right. Something's wrong with you, right? If you do. And I think it's just like
Exactly.
part of that generation that they don't they
And,
see it as like something's wrong with you.
and it's a culture thing too, for sure. You know, Heather, if you could go back and give your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Heather, baby girl, embrace all the failures that you're about to have. You know, as you get older, you learn, you grow, like these life lessons, these failures that you go through, you just become a stronger version of yourself. One thing that I love, like this quote that I love to live by is adversity introduces you to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's so true because if you don't go, if life was just so happy, you would never grow. You would never learn
Exactly.
anything. You'd
Yeah,
just be
no.
stagnant. And
You
so
think that
you,
what you do is correct.
right.
Isn't yeah.
Right. And so you have to go through all the hardships to be able to kind of be grateful for like what you do have. And so, yeah, that's what I would tell myself.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Let's see. If you could relive one day in your 20s, which day would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Um, my 27th birthday party or birthday, I think I had the party the same day because I was surrounded by so many friends and we had so much fun. We went to, I think we did like, went to the beach during the day, which, because my birthday is July 1st, I feel like a beach day is often included. And had a nice brunch or lunch, and then we went to dinner at one of my then favorite restaurants, which is Petty Cash. It's a Mexican
Mm-hmm.
restaurant on Beverly. And then we went to Hyde after, which this was
Love
back
that.
in 2018. And yeah, it was so much fun. I think like, a lot of my friends came out that night. And I mean, just to relive it again, I don't think I would change anything of like if I could go back and like do something differently. I just would love to experience like some of my favorite days multiple times. Yeah.
I wish I could say that I had a birthday that I wish I could relive because I don't really have a birthday that I would relive just because my
What?
birthday
That's
is
so
like
sad.
because my birthday
Yeah.
is in December,
Right
like
before Christmas, I know.
right. And so I just yeah, it's not the context that I've been
That's
living
sad.
in around my birthday is just like
Hmm.
a negative one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right. That's sad because I could relive almost all of my birthdays.
because yours
I
is
also,
like
like I love to celebrate and I always, yeah,
right. And
love to throw
everybody's
an
looking
event.
for a party on like for 4th of July. And so it's like the best time to throw a
Hmm.
party. And you can
Yeah.
go to the pool or the beach, which you
Hmm.
do anyways.
Wherever in the
So,
world. Yeah, not
right.
even just in LA, but in Norway too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Heather, did you experience any major setbacks or failures in your 20s and how did you bounce back from them?
So going back to the failure aspect, yeah, my family actually made me feel like I was a failure. They looked down upon me because I got pregnant at the age of 21 and it just wasn't, it's not part of the norm, right? To get pregnant young.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I got pregnant at a very young age. I feel like
Yeah.
21 is,
It could have been 16.
it's a de right. It's like a decent age, but it's like
Yeah.
not what society says it should be.
It
And
wasn't the
obviously,
plan.
right, it's not part of the plan. And it wasn't part of my plan, to get
Hmm.
pregnant so young. But yeah, it didn't help that I didn't really have a support system. And I just felt
Yeah.
really shitty about myself. Yeah, they made comments like, you chose to get pregnant, this is your life, you're not gonna accomplish anything, you're gonna have to work 20 times as hard, which is true. So
That's
there
fine.
weren't any like gender reveals, baby moons, all this like things that people have
Oh,
around
so
pregnancies.
sad.
There weren't any, and it was just very negative. I felt so alone. It just wasn't a
Mm,
great time to be pregnant. So they made me feel like a failure. And I had to get out of that context. I had to get out of that mindset, and
hmm
really just think of it as because it's a blessing. It was a blessing in
hmm
disguise. Before I got
hmm
pregnant, I was getting blackout drunk every weekend, going to the club. Like literally, it was like,
Like any
but
other 21-year-old.
exactly. And who knows if
Yeah.
I didn't have my son, I don't know what the hell I would be right now. I really don't. And
Yeah.
so I'm so grateful for all of the adversity that I've gone through and it made me to who I am today. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay. So, Henrietta, what was your favorite hangout spot or go-to activity during your 20s?
Like I said, I moved to LA when I was 21. And before that, like even when I was 18, I was going out legally in Norway, but going out in your early 20s in 2012, like early 2010s in LA was amazing. It was the
It
best
was
nightlife
phenomenal.
ever. Phenomenal.
Mhm.
So I would say one of my favorite clubs to go to was Sayers. So we would go to Sayers at least twice a week. I mean, I would, and when you're 21, you bounce back real fast. I would go Mondays and Saturdays, I think, or maybe sometimes Monday, Tuesday, Saturday. It was a lot.
I think you went
I
to
mean,
you went to like the high end like
yeah,
clubs.
I
I
went to
went
the
to
more
like the
bougie.
ratchet clubs. I went to the ratchet like Empire, Joseph's.
I've
I don't
never even
remember.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
no, I went there. We went to Supper Club. We went to Greystone Manor. We
Mhm.
went to yeah, like the bougie clubs. I mean, I
Right.
remember wearing the heels and the tight dresses. No, I could never do that today.
Yeah.
Hell no. But it was
I
fun.
loved it.
It was so much fun. Me
Yeah.
too.
I miss
Like
it.
but I
That was like
remember, I mean, I did go to a few like ratchet clubs, like Argyle. Did you ever go there?
I did. I did go to
Oh,
Argyle. I went to supper. But I think like
yeah.
the main ones I went to is because I knew the promoters and they would just get me in right away and
Right.
I never had to wait in line.
Promoter life.
Always had
Yeah.
bottle service. It was
Oh
the
my God,
best.
same.
I think like Hollywood was
Yeah,
it was like thriving at that time. It was just like, you
literally.
go to Hollywood and you just see everybody like going to the clubs.
Hmm.
Every
Hmm.
like club you went to, the line was just so long and
Insane.
it was so fun.
Every single
People,
club on Hollywood, every club, not just
right.
one,
And
but
people
every,
were
even the hookah
actually
lounge.
right, and they were dancing and just
Hmm.
it was fun. And
I love,
there was not a lot of phones out, like, recording people
true,
in the
have a lot
moment.
of social media. We had
Right.
like Facebook and Instagram, but it wasn't like as instant as it is today. I
Right.
remember taking some photos, but it just was not the same. And yeah, it was just a little bit more like yeah, in the
Living
moment.
in the
People just were
moment.
there to have fun. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I would when I was at Sayers, there were a lot of celebrities almost every single weekend. There were paparazzis outside constantly. We never took photos of them. We just
Right.
were there hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Nobody
Yeah,
was
no, but I
recording them
also
inside, like
yeah,
being
no, nobody.
creeps.
Right. I do love that some of the clubs are still existing, like no vacancy.
Mm.
It's been thriving for as long as I can remember. And I love that it's still the same. And La Descarga too
Oh,
in
Lotta
East
Scotland,
Hollywood
yeah.
or yeah, East
Hmm.
Hollywood. Oh my God. I love
Yeah.
that some are like institutions now. That's like it makes me happy. 'Cause like I've been there, you know.
Hmm.
I grew up there. That's what it feels like. Okay, next question. What was the weirdest or most unexpected job you had during your 20s? And what was the funniest memory from that job?
I used to work at a phone sex company.
No.
And yeah, I used to work at a phone sex
No.
company and I was processing the credit cards. And so I would handle the men that would call in, and then transfer them
Oh my
once I
God.
processed their credit cards. And so, like, some of the funniest
Dude.
things that would happen would be just them trying to talk dirty to me and like do like random nasty things. Yeah, or like,
No. Wait, how old were
wait,
you?
I can't, I'm trying to, do you like, like, I can't, obviously. No. I think, I was like 19 or 20. I was
Oh
20.
my
Yeah, I want to say
God.
that. Yeah. And so,
Traumatized.
right. And it was interesting. I
Hmm.
have never had a crazy, like, that's the craziest job I've ever had.
Was it paid well?
It was like minimum wage
Oh,
at the time.
damn.
Yeah, it was minimum wage. And so, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a hard thing. You just pick up the phone, process the credit
Right. But
card,
still, you have to deal with like fucking creeps.
right? But that was just part of the job title. And so, yeah,
Wow.
that was like the weirdest job that I've ever had.
Damn. Oh, I did not expect that. That's hilarious.
So, Henrietta, if your 20-year-old
Hmm.
self met you today, what would they be most surprised or impressed by?
I think maybe they would be surprised that I'm still single. I mean,
Okay.
because like maybe
Hmm.
her, me.
She.
But she, her, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Um, but I think that also she would be very impressed by my resilience because I don't quit. I don't give up easily or at all. Um,
Mhm.
because I've moved back and forth between LA and Norway now 3 times. And the average person would probably just call it quits after it didn't work out the first time. But I just know that I am not done chasing my dreams. And I think that she would be very impressed, and proud that I just keep going at it and that I am just living my truest self. Because when I was in my 20s, I feel like I couldn't always be myself, and now I just don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna say whatever I feel like. Obviously, I'm not gonna hurt anyone's feelings, but I don't care if people think that I'm a type of way.
Mhm. Hey girl, that's why we're friends, okay?
Exactly.
Like you don't we're not, influenced by the norm, and so we create our own
hmm
paths. Maybe we did before, but now
Yes.
we're really like
hmm
living our truest selves. We're in our truest
Yeah.
form.
We are speaking like a true life coach.
Right. Oh my God, that was so much fun. I love those questions.
I know. Same. I learned a few things about you that I did not know,
I know that I
like the
like I
sex
worked
worker
at
thing. That
right.
was not sex worker. No, no, no. Let me tell you.
Like
The you know
the
what I
phone
mean.
sex
Like a
company.
sex worker. That was not what I meant. Yeah.
Oh God. We'll just
So
say
I
that.
feel like we're probably going to talk about that and talk more about our 20s as we go
Mhm.
because there's a lot
Yeah,
that
for
happened. It was
sure.
a
There's
full decade. A lot.
Mhm.
You can fit a lot into 10 years.
No, totally. And I think that, well, I have so much more to say because I grew up in my 20s being a single mom. So there's just like a lot to
hmm
talk about.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into it. Thank you for joining us on this heartfelt journey through death to our 20s. We've reminisced, reflected, and celebrated as we bid farewell to one decade and eagerly step into the next. But before we go, let's talk about what's coming up next. In our next episode, we're switching gears a bit with a fun game segment called Would You Rather? Get ready for some laughter, tough choices, and maybe even a few surprises as we play Would You Rather and dive into some entertaining scenarios. So don't miss out. Tune in next time for some lighthearted fun and a chance to get to know us even better through the game. Until then, keep smiling, keep exploring, and keep embracing life's adventures. Love you.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening. We hope you got some takeaways from today's episode.
You can also follow us on Instagram and YouTube at 30s Unfiltered or email us at 30sunfiltered@gmail.com.
Please leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to our channels. See you next time.